January 25, 1966, 11 a.m. Test pilot Bill Weaver and his reconnaissance systems officer, RSO, Jim Zwayer, are strapped into the cockpit of an SR-71 Blackbird. They are flying at Mach 3.18, over 3 times the speed of sound, at an altitude of 78,000 feet. They are higher and faster than almost any other human beings on the planet. The sky above them is black. The air outside is so thin it's virtually a vacuum. The skin of their aircraft is heated to over 600 degrees Fahrenheit by air friction. Everything is normal. And then, in a fraction of a second, it isn't. A simple engine malfunction is about to turn the world's most advanced aircraft into a supersonic bomb. Welcome to Shadow Works. Today we open the file on the only time an SR-71 Blackbird disintegrated in mid-air, and the impossible story of the men who were inside it. To fly at Mach 3, the SR-71's engines need to swallow a massive amount of air. But the air entering the engine has to be slowed down from supersonic to subsonic speeds. This is done by a large, movable cone inside the engine inlet. The position of this cone is critical. If it's off by even a fraction of an inch, the supersonic shockwave inside the inlet can collapse. This is called an unstart. An unstart is violent. The engine instantly loses thrust. It is like slamming on the brakes on just one side of a car while going 2,000 miles per hour. The aircraft violently yaws to the side. On that day, Bill Weaver's right engine unstarted. The aircraft's nose snapped sharply to the right. Weaver, a veteran test pilot, instantly jammed the control stick to the left to counter it. But this time, the unstart was different. The right engine didn't just lose power, it completely flamed out. The asymmetrical thrust was too great. The plane began to sideslip uncontrollably. At Mach 3, the SR-71 is not a stable aircraft. It is a balanced knife edge of aerodynamics. As the plane yawed, it also pitched up dramatically. The angle of attack became so extreme that the airflow over the wings separated. The Blackbird was no longer flying, it was tumbling. The gale forces were immense. Bill Weaver later recalled that he felt like he was being crushed by a giant hand. He couldn't move, he couldn't reach the ejection handle. He blacked out. The airframe of the SR-71 is built of titanium, designed to withstand extreme heat, but not extreme tumbling. The aerodynamic forces ripped the aircraft apart. The nose section, where Weaver and Zwayer were seated, sheared off from the rest of the fuselage. They were now falling in a broken cockpit from 15 miles up. When Weaver regained consciousness, he was confused. The loud roar of the engines was gone. Instead, he heard the sound of wind rushing past his helmet. He realized he was no longer in the plane. Miraculously, as the aircraft broke apart, his ejection seat had fired automatically. His life was saved by his pressure suit, essentially a spacesuit. It provided him with oxygen and pressurized his body against the near vacuum of the stratosphere. Without it, his blood would have boiled instantly. Weaver fell for miles before his main parachute opened. He landed at a remote field in New Mexico. A rancher who had seen the debris falling from the sky picked him up in a helicopter. But his RSO, Jim Zwayer, was not so lucky. His seat had also ejected, but the high G-forces of the breakup had broken his neck, killing him instantly. He was found still strapped into his seat, a mile away from Weaver. The crash was a devastating blow to the SR-71 program. It was a harsh reminder that when you push the envelope of physics, the margin for error is non-existent. The SR-71 would go on to serve for another 30 years. It flew over Vietnam, North Korea, and the Soviet Union. It was fired upon by over 4,000 missiles, and it outran every single one of them. But it was never uncrashable. And on a cold January day in 1966, it proved that even the fastest plane on Earth can fall from the sky. The SR-71 was a triumph of engineering. But sometimes engineering is used for darker purposes. Join us next time as we open the file on Project Miraculous, the CIA's secret program to control the human mind using LSD and torture. Click here to subscribe. The archives are open.